Consider the aphid.
Consider the aphid.
Consider the aphid, yes, the aphid.
A warning about the aphid.
Yes, the aphid, a small pear-shaped insect usually found on the leaves of plants sucking the sugar fluids therein. And due to the sugar fluids being low in nitrogen, this tiny little bug must suck in huge quantities to reap the benefits, thus expelling. You should be listening about the aphids. It has something to do with you. You know what the aphid, do you know what an aphid is? Do you know what an aphid is, sir? An aphid is a small pear-like insect that sucks the juices. It sucks the juices from the corn leaf, and it creates a crystallized product called honeydew. Unlike the sweet honeydew plant, the honeydew of the aphid is quite sweet, and therein lies the problem. Who likes sweets? But ants. Yes, ants. Those colonies are at our feet, invading our kitchen cupboards, ruining our picnics, and yet this most insidious creature, the ant, is not content with simply annoying humans. It is also the scourge of the insect world. Ants like sweets. Sweets to an ant are like cocaine to a rock star. And ants will do anything to get their fix.
You don't say.
And this is where the poor belated aphid comes in. Remember, the aphid has the ability to secrete a sugary substance called honeydew, which it turns out is the holy grail, the heroin of the sweetness to the ant. So the ant colonies, in their mad frenzy and junkie lust for sugar, have found a way, to get their fix on a regular basis. If there are children in the audience, I would suggest at this point you might want to cover their ears, for what I have discovered happening on this very tiny level is quite hideous. For you see, ants, in that lustful quest for sugar, have taken to herding the aphids. Indeed, some researchers in the field have even taken to calling the poor aphids art cows, as ant cows, as if they were ants, were tiny little cowboys herding tiny little cattle. But oh dear friends, it's much more insidious than that. It's twisted, it's immoral. For you see, the ants have upset the natural order of things. The aphid dietary cycle is to ingest huge amounts of the sugary fluids, or perhaps a corn leaf, and excrete honeydew, a natural elimination cycle. However, in their psychotic need for the honeydew, ants have been known to stroke the tiny aphids with their antenna, causing the poor minute ant cow to excrete even more and more until the poor little aphid can no longer poop on its own. It is totally dependent on the ant. So therefore, dear friends, now if that weren't enough, it turns out that the ant terrorists are going even further. In the interest of smallness, next time you're walking about and see an ant hill, follow the colony and you will find a tiny internment camp, a prison of aphids. For the ant once thought a simply picnic pest is much more than that. Indeed, the ants, like some crazed serial maniac in a B-movie, have kidnapped the aphids and are using them for their own deprived needs. It seems ants have a slight tranquilizer in their legs, which makes the aphid sluggish and willing to do whatever the ants desire. If that wasn't enough, aphids begin as wingless females throughout the first 3 cycles, and then they sprout wings, meaning they could fly away and begin a new aphid colony. But not with their ant masters. The ant masters will literally tore the tiny wings asunder, thus assuring the kidnapped aphids know their place. Now, I know you all know about the Stockholm Syndrome, where oftentimes kidnappers have fallen in love with their kidnappers as they become somewhat infantilized, depending on the kidnappers for their every source of well-being. So it is in the ant and aphid relationship. Ants have been known to keep aphids safe from the predators such as ladybugs, killing ladybug larvae and destroying their eggs, supposedly all in the interest of the aphid, but let's be honest. Ants are nobody's friend. Fight the ant Borg. In fact, dear friends, I will say this, as an aphid, I would rather die in the clutches of a ladybug than live as a pooping sugar slave to the Moloch ants of madness. Free the aphids. Free the...